Welcome to Roundup Reddit. Today's stories are about survival and perseverance in the face of adversity. Story 1. Why my dad tried to kill me. The first time. This is such a traumatic memory I will genuinely never forget about. On Monday, 5th November 2019, I had a GCSE class with my twin brother. Now I used to self-harm on my left hand because at that time, I had seizures for around 2 years and a half without them getting treated because my parents refused to, and I was bullied in school because of them being called possessed and all sorts. And so I started self-harming. But then my parents stopped taking to me because I was self-harming, and it just got worse. A student in my class kept on asking about the marks on my hand, and I refused to tell her because she would tell a whole village within an hour, and I didn't want that. She then goes to ask my brother in front of me, and he tells her. I told him like 20 times to stop, but he carried on. At this point, I just told the teacher because she knew about my situation. She only spoke to him at the end of the lesson. My mom used to pick me up because she didn't want me to have a seizure on the way and for someone to call an ambulance, since they didn't want me to get medical attention for the sake of their reputation and the family name, and my brother because they cared for. When I came to the car, my dad was in loudspeaker on my mom's phone. He starts to yell at me from the bottom of his lungs. How dare you bully your brother? I'll rip your mouth open when I come back home. He's worth more than you. You should be kissing his feet. At least he doesn't have seizures like you that tarnish the name of this family. You disgusting being. Watch when I come back home. I kill you. Now I was scared for me life. We went back home, and I was shaking in my room. My dad finished work at 7 p.m. He arrived home at 7:36 p.m. He screamed my name to come to the living room. He then grabs me from my collar and drops me to the ground hard, and my lip starts bleeding. He then crawls close to me with his hand in a fist, giving me threats. Whilst being so close to me, I was scared he would just swing his arms at me. He then said, I can beat you so hard and leave no physical marks on you and let you internally bleed that even when you try to report it to social services or police, they won't believe you until you die. Even if there were marks on you, I can just simply say, you self-harmed, then you committed suicide. He then says, I can just kill you this second right now, and I'll just throw your body somewhere. Then he was about to smash his fist on my face until my mom grabs him and stops him, and I run to my room. Story 2. My parents tried to kill me, but I persevered. 2 suicide attempts and self-harm. I'm from a family that's considered well-to-do compared to most of my country. I have a roof. My dad's a businessman who has a small-scale company. My mom's a software engineer who's been in the field for a while. Pretty standard. Why would life be hard to deal with? Mom left India when I was 7. My older sister was 10 and my younger was 3. She wanted a divorce from my dad and full custody of us, but in my country there's no option of no-fault divorce. She wanted it, Dad did not. We had none of the necessary documents for my mom to even take us out of the country for us to live there. Dad literally refused to get us passports when we were young in fear that she'll take us and leave. When I was a kid, I loved my dad and his family. He has 4 older siblings, which means I have 8 cousins, and we used to have lots of fun with them. The toxicity come from the adults. I thought they were nice people growing, not so much now. Whenever they came home, all they used to tell us was, you guys can convince your mom to get back with your dad. Tell your mom everyone else has a whole family, but not us. Sometimes when it was a bad enough day, they'd blame us, saying, other kids would have forced her to stay. Only my kids do nothing and just want to see their dad suffer. You guys don't even love me. Every year, my mom would visit 4 times, so every 3 months. She'd give us each a budget of $100 and get us as many toys as we wanted. But every time my mom came, we got scared of both our parents. Because there was no legal paperwork to decide where we stay, Dad used to get mad at us for ever staying with Mom. But if we stayed with Dad, Mom would be like, I brought you so many gifts. I'm not just an ATM machine for you people. I demand you respect me. Fact is, we loved our dad more than our mom. We loved him. His side of the family, our cousins, we loved to stay right where we were. We didn't want to leave. Mom left when I was 7, and I have lived with Dad always. He sacrificed a lot for us. The only bad thing is, he constantly used to bring it up, which is the toxic part, but sigh. He came to all our report cards, sports days, let us practice any hobby we wanted, was stern when it came to falling grades. He was our rock. Mom was a stranger who brought us gifts and trauma every 3 months. Fast forward to me being 12, she got kicked out US for Trump-related reasons, I think, and had to move back. That's when we noticed her illness. She had unmedicated bipolar disorder and schizophrenic symptoms. I believed it the moment my dad told me that. My older sis did not, so I didn't say anything. A year after my family came to us with a plan that we had no say in to refuse. The plan was to get Mom in a room and distract her and keep her there till nurses came to sedate her and forcefully admit her into a hospital to treat her because she was becoming suicidal and distant from everybody. The people doing the distracting was supposed to be me and my siblings. My older sister got scared and refused. Dad looked like he was going to argue with her. Dad was never physically abusive, otherwise I would have put him in jail by now, LOL. So I just rushed and said, I'll do it, while my younger and older went to their friend's place. So there I was playing Uno, telling my mother that my sisters are coming, so we just need to wait. My grandfather knocked on the door, letting me know it was time. I rushed to the other room and put on Naruto full volume through the headphones. I still remember my mom's scream. She was good for a bit, slightly aloof, like she was high, but the doctors said she'll heal in a year once she adapts to drugs and will be normal. And finally, we'd meet our mother for the first time in our lives without her being influenced by her disease. Long story short, she stopped taking the meds eventually, and life went back to being horrible. The only difference being, I was lucky to have been raised by the internet and not by either of my parents, so I could stand up for sisters just like my older could stand up for us. We had a backbone and we could fight back. No one Dad's side dared trying to tell us all of that BS about convincing our mother to come back. We were 15 and 18 now. BS won't work on us like it used to. And luckily I raised my younger sister, so the three of us were basically the same mental age and wise beyond our years when it comes to important shit. I mean, the dumb stuff, you can't blame us. We were teens. But then 10th grade happened. My country has a national exam for 10th and 12th grade where every student is ranked nationwide. I was considered a smart kid growing up. Not so much now, Lowell. The stress got to me. I became severely depressed, slept all the time, used to get panic attacks, the whole shebang. But right as my marks came out, the pandemic happened. I was stoked initially because I had an excuse to stay indoors and do nothing but play Persona 5, Royal, and FF7 Remake that came out that same month, and I was with my sisters. Sad part, our mom kidnapped us to live with her and her parents, and I cannot stress enough that my maternal grandparents deserve to rot in hell, but unfortunately, even Satan doesn't want them there yet because they're still alive. I could tell they hated us living there. Hell, they hated Mom living there because all they wanted was for her to either live on her own or live with my dad. Remember, still no divorce because Dad's an asshole or too nice, I don't know. And right in the middle of that, my results came out. 79%. Horrible. Can you tell I'm Asian? So Mom and I had the bright idea of getting an apartment together alone to enable concentration. Didn't work. I lived with her 2 years with her not letting me leave the house, shouting at me for being 2 minutes late, yelling at me if she ever caught wind that I snuck out to meet Dad or any of my that side family while I was walking my dogs. It was hell. All I could do was wake up, hope that was a good day for her, walk my dogs, and exist in a room while my only friend at the time talked me down from every time I tried to drink bleach and KMS to escape the situation. My only solace was that the moment my 12th ended, I could leave, live with my dad and sisters, and be happy finally. That didn't happen. She kept me with her however she could. Write this entrance test, leave after this thing. One day, she outright locked away my suitcase and was like, "You're never leaving me till I can go back to the US." One day, I heard her insulting my school, saying she's going to change it for my sister because it puts you down and all sorts of garbage. For context, my teachers kept me alive through 12th. They could tell I was suicidal, and they kept motivating me. All of the faculty knew me and knew I was trying really hard, but it was my family situation that kept bringing me down. Somehow, hearing this was my last straw. While she was out of the house looking at new schools for my younger sister, I told my dad to send the driver, and I packed all of my shit into the back of their car and asked my sister to come that night to pick me up. I snapped at my mom that night and left permanently. Best decision I have ever made. But that's when the actual attempts started. I told my dad I needed to go to a psychiatrist. He took me. I told her I was suicidal, but told her not to tell Dad. Legally, she was supposed to, but bad psychologist. She did not. She prescribed me meds. Dad didn't want me to take them, so I didn't. Then in September, my mother called me and insulted me because I chose a college close to home instead of the one she wanted. That would have cost an arm, a leg, and a lot of money for a course I didn't even want. And my friend had quasi-ghosted me. She had her own shit to deal with. She was almost as depressed as me. I was hurt, but I didn't blame her. So I finally took the almost literal leap. Put on the song Tum Hi Ho on loudspeaker, opened the door of the terrace, and drank a half-a-liter bottle of 80% alcohol hand sanitizer. I went to my doctor uncle after that, very close to him, and told him I did. He said I'll be fine as long as I didn't drink all of it. I said I didn't, which was a very bold lie, but I didn't die, so I was bummed either ways. Next time, I insisted Dad to take to another psychologist, because every time my mom called me, I got a panic attack and ran out of college, and he did. I told her I tried to kill myself already. She told my dad. This time, Dad understood the gravity of the situation and immediately got the meds. However, he made the mistake of keeping the meds with me. 3 months later, I tried oding myself. Fun fact. 14. Oleazophine do not cause death. I told my quasi-ghosted friend. She told me to not make her the last person she talks to, because she could never forgive herself. I felt guilty for a conscience and told my younger. She told older. I'm rushed to the hospital and a rice tube is fitted through my nose for a stomach wash. Worst experience of my life. Luckily, I got used to it by the second and third. I laugh because I'm crying on the inside. Third time, I almost succeeded, but my body threw it up on its own because I wanted my last meal to be calamari. I think they were bad. That was when I told my dad I can't do engineering anymore, and we changed to architecture instead. So, yay! And I changed my psychiatrist 2 more times, and finally I got the right one. Also, I started seeing a psychologist, which really was the thing that helped. You can only throw medicines at the problem so much, but they weren't changing the way my brain insane thought about myself. And now we're here, 3 months in with the new therapists, and I'm happy. I'm starting TFT this Jan 26th, 2024, and I'm healing. My dad and mom fund it because my mom is now again on meds after a crazy incident. Let me know if you want to know about that traumatizing event, lol. And so she's more stable and basically had been a different person for a year. I still get scared of her sometimes, but I've mostly compartmentalized that till I'm ready to face it in therapy. Emotional flashbacks do not help this cause. I do think that in the future, once I leave my country, I'm gonna go no contact with my parents. My dad's family is homophobic, and I'm hella lesbian, LMAO. And my parents are, well, too complicated, and they don't respect my sister's feeling because they haven't tried to kill themselves yet. They literally only respect me, and I've started getting on their case about it, and I feel like I don't deserve it. I mean, my older sister cuts herself, and they didn't give a shit. My younger is going through a period of deep change because she's in 10th, and they don't give a shit or give too much of a shit and just freak her out. I don't need people like that in my life, but maybe I should be grateful because I know my meds and therapy appointments aren't cheap, but I also wasn't the reason why I need those appointments, so really they're just paying to fix a problem they caused, right? I don't really owe them anything. I mean, I don't want either sides of my family except my sisters to meet my kids in the future. Should I be guilty about that? IDK either way. If you read so far, thank you. It means a lot. Also, subscribe to my YT channel, Rizal2R, because I might make a video on my life on there to release this 20th, because that was one of the huge days of me trying to KMS. Tell me if you'd be interested, though. I gave most of the info here, lol. Dex for reading. I love you, and I hope you're safe, protected, and know that the world needs you to turn happily tomorrow. Story 3. I think my parents are trying to kill me. Every morning is the same thing. I go to the kitchen, sit down at the dinner table. My breakfast always tastes funny when mom gives it to me, so I refuse to eat it every morning and pour my own bowl. We get in the car. My mom straps me in extra tightly. My sister sits next to me. She has a nervous smile on her face. I get to school and I have to see the counselor. He doesn't even do anything, just gives me a glass of orange juice. Asks how I am then. After a brief chat, sends me to class. He seems worried too, like he's scared of something. As I walk to my class, I can see everyone looking at me, whispering to their friends about me. After an uneventful day at school, I walk home. I go to the kitchen to get a snack. I can hear my parents upstairs arguing. My mom says they need to deal with me, that I need to go. As I grab the box of cereal, I notice a plastic bottle behind it labeled risperidone. I knew it. I knew they were trying to kill me. Story 4. My mom tried to kill me because she gave birth to me. My mom tried to kill me twice over dumb stuff. My mom has a history of taking things that she shouldn't, like my PS4 for 2 years because of one piece of homework, my phone repeatedly because she says so, and my computer because she thinks she can stop me from masturbating. She can't. I want freedom and happiness, so this doesn't bode well. I'll just say I'm 14 and play strategy games. So the first attempt on my life was summer 2020. I had taken my phone back a couple times, and my mom had enough. This is summer where I have nothing to do besides walk around in 90-degree weather, and I didn't care, so I pestered her for my phone. So in a completely normal reaction, she burst out yelling at me, grabbed my neck, and chalked me. In response, I grabbed her back, and she yelled at me like I was harming her, beat me up, and locked herself in her room like a child. How ironic. And then over the next few days tried to kick me out. I was 11, beat up until my face started to welt. Then my grandfather passed away, and my mother the day after the funeral said that just because granddad is gone doesn't mean I'm going to be nice, while me and my sister were sitting in the kitchen, completely unprovoked. Fast forward to summer 2022, and she's already taken my stuff over literally nothing. My end-of-year grades were all B's and C's. So I went and retrieved my property and put it in hiding. Fast forward 10 minutes, my mom yelling at me about how I'm having a mental breakdown because I wasn't listening to her, and then beat my face in again with a metal art case while kneeling on my chest. I thought I was going to die, but I didn't. Then she got off me like nothing happened, and took the stuff and called my dad about me. Now she doesn't get mad at me as much, but now there's no food in the house. I've lost faith in living so many times, but I'm with the rest of family right now, and they keep her under control. Goodbye now. Take care of yourselves and stay safe. Edit. For those Megiddo worried, I already tried to call CPS. Rather, my teacher went out of his way to tell them and write a report. He got a message from CPS saying they were investigating. That was at the start of summer. It is November 24th, so since she's calmed down and is off my ass IDC, she isn't worth the effort. I can hear them coming downstairs now. They must know I'm home by now. I grab a kitchen knife and sit waiting for them to get into the kitchen. Thanks for tuning in to Roundup Reddit. If you're fighting your own battles, know you're not alone. Stay strong and keep shining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you until next time.